Alright people, how you doing? Yes, so today I just want to talk about how to cope with depression. You understand? And I say cope because depression can't be cured. You could only learn to live with it. You could only learn to work around it. The hardest part is admitting that you're actually suffering from depression. It can happen to anyone out there. Some rich businessman happy, have all the money, have a nice woman, have a car and all that kind of thing. Tomorrow somebody in his family drop dead, boom. He can be suffering from depression for the rest of his life. You understand what I say? So you can't really categorize or stereotype the kind of people you think that would suffer from depression, because it really can happen to any and everyone. You understand? It just takes one thing to trigger it. Now I can tell you this because I suffered from depression for about 7 years before I even realized that I was just in constant denial, because I always assumed that depression, them kind of things there, so people with real issues, real life problems, that being abused as a child or whatever and thing like that. It was a lot of the small things that really had a lasting effect in my mind. You understand? From 4 years old I was bottling up this anger, this rage, this resent for people and stuff. I'm in my 20s now, you understand what I say, and all my life I've been doing that. Up until about the age of about 22 I was completely unaware that I was suffering from depression. You understand? I tried killing myself, you know what I mean? I had a few lame attempts, I won't even lie, but I'm ashamed of it. And if you're thinking of doing that kind of stuff, trust me, don't even go there. It's not worth it. It's really not worth it, because when you're depressed, everything is 10, not even 10, 100,000 times worse than it actually is. Because you start doubting yourself, you start hating yourself, you start seeing yourself as this thing. You don't like yourself, you don't love yourself, you don't love yourself in the mirror. You start trying to avoid looking at yourself. Sometimes you feel worthless. I understand, I can relate, you understand what I say? Because I suffered from very, very bad acne in my teenage years, and I got bullied for it, I got called names, I got stared at. I felt like an alien, trust me. I felt like this object, like some circus freak for people just to be staring at. They be looking at me, and then you see them start looking and they like frowning and rubbing their skin, checking to see if their skin's smooth and everything, and it make you feel like shit, boss. Honestly, Jano, you're on the bus and thing, and you see people looking at you and you hear them talking like, got him skin, I'm lucky I don't have that much. That's when the anger really started within me. That when it really started boiling inside me. Because you had these girls in school, they'll come up with one little pimple, and all of a sudden that's the end of their world. They have to try use makeup and cover it up and all that, and I'm like, yo, I living with a face and a head and back, neck, everything covered in acne. You get one little pimple and that's the end of your world. I started to resent people for it, and I could admit this now because I'm over it, you know what I mean? People looking, staring, laughing, talking, all of this, all of that. Yeah, it was eating me up inside, man. So the whole of my life I was going on living, not realizing that I was actually depressed, thinking that, I was just an angry person. I was gonna turn out to be a serial killer or something at some stage in my life. And so I start college now. Basically everybody else didn't really kind of get my vibe, my kind of jokes and thing. So in order to fit in, I changed who I was to fit in. And trust me, that's the worst thing you could ever do. That's the worst thing you could possibly do. And in changing my identity, completely made me lose respect for myself. I forgot who I was. Here I was trying to change myself to fit in for the benefits of other people and not really looking out for me. And I regret that move, I regret that move, because that's 5 years of my life wasted being depressed over some stupidness. Honestly, the first stage is admitting it. And it's a very, 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 very difficult thing to do. Extremely difficult thing to do is to admit that you're depressed and you're suffering from depression. Because it's like this stigma, it's like, oh, depression, I can't suffer from depression. My life ain't that bad for me to be suffering from them kind of things. But no, trust me, it's real. When you're depressed, all your issues and all the things you keep to yourself, because you feel like people just going to judge you. I didn't want to open up to no one. I was in relationships, I was in long-term relationships, and people didn't know too much about me. I only let you know what I want you to know about me. I didn't want to be judged. I didn't want them to see me as different. I didn't want them to see me as a weirdo. It really destroys relationships when you don't speak to someone about your issues, because one day you're fine, one day you're happy, the next day you switch and you're in a completely different mood. It's really hard for your partner to read that kind of thing, because one day you're happy, the next day you're just down in the rut and you're treating them like rubbish and you're talking to them like dirt, and they don't understand what's going on inside your head. So how can you then get upset with them for being real with you and be like, look, you need to explain what's going on, because this can't work if you're one day you're up, next day you're down, and you're not really talking to me. You need to talk to me, you need to open up to me, let me know what's happening, let me help you. And because we're in this state where now I don't want to be judged, who the hell are you to try and tell me how I should live my life or how I should feel? You push, you just keep pushing people back, and it's not good, man. It's not good. And I attended some classes, had some group sessions, and it was the most nerve-wracking thing. Understand me, say it was the most nerve-wracking thing. It was hard because there I was sitting in a group of about 12 people, never meet before in my life, and I had to open up, tell stuff about my life, which was extremely private. One thing I did respect is the confidentiality within that group. from the directors, and everyone respects each other's privacy. So you see somebody out on the street, they kind of hold their head down because people are ashamed. But yo, listen, don't be ashamed of that. You understand what I say? Don't be ashamed. And I had a few sessions. It was CBT skills. It's like cognitive behavior training, I think it was called. Basically, they get you to write down what triggers your depression. Say you're happy, you're having a good day, and then something happens. What triggers it? What makes you go downhill from there? And you just write it down, explain. I didn't want to write down too much because how I'm going to write down, yeah, I was walking down the road, I saw this hot chick. I totally wanted to bone her. I knew I was going to bone her. That made me depressed. So I never want to write down too much to help. It does help. On a real though, it does help, because when you start write down things, it's not until you start writing it down you don't realize there's all these different factors that plays a part in how you feel. So you start writing down one thing, and you think and you think and you think, and then you're writing down a few more things. As an example, you know, I wake up this morning, I was in a good mood. I went through to the kitchen, a dish was on the side with some dirty fork in it, and from there that kind of made me feel a bit annoyed. From there it kind of spiraled. You hit your toe on something that pisses you off even more, so it just keeps adding and it's stockpiling, and then eventually, you know, go downhill. What this training did help me to do is kind of get an outlook where things were going wrong for me, where I could improve, and it's helping you to make steps working towards getting over these problems, working with these problems, because like I said, depression cannot be cured. You can only learn to live with it. After a few sessions I was like, you know what, I don't need any more of this. I ain't coming back here. I've seen and learned enough about this. I have my life in my hands again. I could move forward now. One thing you have to learn to do is let go of things in the past. The things that you're holding on to. A lot of it is to do with things in your childhood or your teenage years or whatever, and we hold on to this. Just letting go of that and saying, alright, you know what, let me wipe a clean slate. You have to have that positive mindset. It's not easy. It takes a lot of hard work. I must admit, it takes a lot of hard work, because you can't just be like, alright, 1 week going past and I'm going to be up and everything going to be bubbly, I'm going to be happy. Nah, it don't work like that. It's that continual good vibe that you have to put yourself in, like, you know what, alright, things shit for me right now, but you know what, I'm not going to stress, I'm not going to worry. Things may sort itself out. It's life. Shit happens. I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life. I'm only telling you about my experiences and, you know, stuff I've heard from other people and how you can go about coping with it. Bill come in, you don't have enough money to pay this or that. You know what? Alright, I'm not going to stress. I'll call up whoever I need to pay. Say like, look, this is my situation. It's going to be impossible for me to do such and such by this time. Is there anything you can do to help me? And you know, 9 times out of 10 these companies will help you. It's one of them things where they don't tell you that they'll help you until you ask for help. So they'll come across threatening and everything, like, oh, you need to pay this amount by that date, or else we're gonna come in and take this from your house, that from your house. Nah, don't let them, nobody bully you, man. Don't let life bully you. Take hold of your life, please. Take control of it again. So take some steps. Start writing things down. What triggers your moods, what changes your day. When you have a clear outlook of that, then you can then start to work around it. And when you see these little things happening, you'll be like, alright, you know what, cool, hey Mr. Trouble, nice to meet you, but guess what, today you're not going to bug me. I'm going to stay positive, man. It's not easy to stay in that positive mindset, but when you get used to it, it becomes a lot easier. Yo, it's life. Shit going to happen regardless. Things aren't always in our control, you know. So when stuff happens, the only thing you can do is just be like, alright, I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to take my time, you know. I'm not an expert with depression or anything like that. I'm not trying to, you know, come to you with all these different things saying like, oh, you need to live this way, you need to live that way, you can't be doing that, you shouldn't be doing that. Nah, bullshit. I'm just being real with you. I just want to help somebody else out there. You know, other people helped me. My girlfriend helped me to realize I was depressed. Them sessions I attended helped me to find ways of coping with it. So much better off now than I was a year ago. It's a massive difference. It's a completely new person, because depression makes you feel sluggish. You lose interest in everything. You lose motivation, self-respect, self-esteem. Everything just goes down the drain when you're depressed. But hang in there, man. Somebody else out there will help you. Like I said, that's the biggest step, and that's the best thing you could ever do. Speak to someone. Make sure it's someone that you really can trust. Even if you go to your doctors and be like, hey, I need some help, I'm depressed. They have therapists within these surgeries and they can arrange appointments for you. Or even if you have family members and whatever, just go to them and be like, hey, I need to talk to you about something, but I really need you to keep this to yourself and between us. And just open up to somebody, and you'll be amazed, trust me, by how much weight you feel lifted off your shoulder and your heart. Because you're not carrying all that around on you anymore. You shared it with somebody else and it makes you feel awesome. Trust me. This is just a little video. Hopefully I help somebody out there. Let me know how you feel about things. If you want to know more, I'll let you know more. So yeah. Anyway, this was Versatile all the while. Hope you enjoyed the video. Little more. Boom.